Yeah. So, if you can introduce yourself.
I'm Angela Kramer. I'm the head librarian here at the Estancia Public Library in Estancia, New Mexico.
How long have you been here?
I have worked here in the library since 2001, so about 17 years. I was hired as the assistant librarian, and then in 2011, the current head librarian, or not current, I'm current, was current, retired, and so I took over.
So you were in a new building. Well,
yes,
and are in a new building. So you were in the old building.
Right. I started out in the old building. It was actually it was the municipal building, and then when the municipal building moved out, the library and police and fire were in one building, and a family gave some money to the town to build a library. Willis Williams and his sister Corrine Williams French had grown up here. Their parents had actually homesteaded here, and so they had grown up here before they moved as young adults to California, and they loved the community and wanted to give back to this community, and they wanted to build a library, and they wanted it to be by the park. They had certain criteria they wanted, and one of it was near the park, and they gave $1 million. Yes. So built this wonderful library, very epic center of the library. Our park is already one of the nicest parks, I think, in the county. And then now you add the library, and then later came the swimming pool. So it's a hybrid activity.
Right out this window.
In the summer.
Wow, I bet that's just amazing. And you come down the street in Estancia, looks like eastern New Mexico, and you come around the corner and there's this beautiful gleaming new structure at the end of the park. And
right.
That's the library, and it was.
Here.
Yay.
And this happened in 2005.
Well, it is a beautiful, beautiful building. And how long has the town had a library?
Since 1908. I'm sorry. I'm very sorry. No, yes, it was 08. 1908.
Wow.
Yes, so quite a long time.
Nice.
And that was actually started in the basement of a church. A family, the Garnet? Is it Garnet? Yes, I'm actually losing my... Yeah, it was Garnet. Garnet family. They had a large book donation collection that they donated to the library. And it was started in a basement, and then Estancia Women's Club took over. And then after that, Estancia Women's Business and Professionals Women's Club took over from that. And they had raised money, and they gave the money to the town to help build a community center. And in that community center was a library. And then before the town built, and then the town built the new municipal building, and the library went in there. So it's been in many hands in many places, but always in Estancia. And it's, like I said, it started with a book donation by someone.
That's really cool. A lot of the libraries that are smaller are relatively recent here in New Mexico. So it's neat to hear this one.
History.
Yeah.
Yes.
So cool. Tell me a little about some of the unique programming that you do, or things that you've seen a lot of success with, whether it be children, teens, adults.
Well, of course, the children's programming is successful. We have a preschool program, which is 1.5-year-olds all the way to kindergarten, and that meets on Wednesday mornings. Kind of a mommy and me time. I read a story, we do a craft, the mothers get to visit, and I've seen a lot of friendships develop between these mothers, which I think is good for the community. And these children, their families, they keep coming back to the library. And then, of course, we have an after-school program. I have it all on the sheet, I believe, which is for the kindergarten through 5th graders. They come and we talk about the books they're checking out. They keep track of their books they're reading with stickers. They get a prize at the end. We read a book. I read a story to them. I believe in reading to children no matter what age. I mean, we get read to, audiobooks.
Right, exactly.
And then we do a craft. It usually has something to do with the book we've read. Play outside at the park sometimes. Anything to get them in and checking out a book. And I think something like that stays. And I know personally that something like that stays because I was raised in a library going to after-school programs and summer reading programs. So it was always on my mind whenever I moved to a new community, go find the library. And
first stops.
I'm hoping that is instilled in these children. And we have a teen book program. It's really hard to get teens right now. I actually we're taking a break. I'm going to have to do some revamping of that program because a lot of the kids, they either can't make it because of transportation issues because we are so rural, or other programs going on with siblings maybe, or themselves, school sports, things like that. And we have an adult book club. Sorry, I am the only one today, so
that's fine.
If I'm needed, I may have to leave. They meet once a month. They pick out a book to read. We all read. And it fluctuates the attendance. It's usually anywhere from 4 to 10 people, depending on the month. This month, none. Christmas. And then we have a GED program through UNM. It's actually a GED tutoring program. UNM, the HEP program, it's called High School Equivalency Program.
Okay.
And they come in once a week and tutor students that are going to be taking their GED program.
And are you a testing center for the GED?
No,
Okay.
I'm not. They do have to go to Albuquerque for that.
Okay. Cool.
Oh gosh, let's see. We do various programs throughout the year too. We've had a seed exchange that has to do with through our seed library. We have a seed library. I had pint-sized polkas.
Does it have Estancia beans in it?
It does. Estancia beans. Some Estancia pumpkins too. Let's see. Like I said, we do a lot of programs. We've had Lego parties for the kids, Legos, and we've had something for the little preschoolers called Box and Bubble Day, where we bring out the huge refrigerator boxes and bubbles, and it's kind of a celebration. It's usually in late spring, early summer, to celebrate being able to be outside.
That's fun.
Did I mention the pint-sized polkas? They came last year. That was really fun. And sometimes the NMSU exchange office is here. This is the county seat. And they've come and done classes here. I've had a Head Start do parenting classes. Altamira did parenting classes. So the library is used by the community for a lot of different things.
Right. Yeah, it sounds like a really nice thing.
Yeah. Our seed library actually is new. We have a couple people here in the valley that have a seed vault.
Oh, cool.
Yes, there's a seed vault here in the valley. And they wanted to just share their seeds with the community. And so the seeds are free. So anyone can come and look through our seed library and pick out seeds. And usually early spring is when we have a seed exchange. So people can bring seeds, take seeds, talk to people about seeds, about growing in the valley. There are challenges with our soil. So that's kind of fun and new and interesting, kind of different.
Was there regulatory issues with getting that for the library, or you guys just started it?
We just did it.
Awesome. Nice. Cool. So do you have any stories about how the library has impacted particular patrons, or any stories that you can share about people that were really, the library made a difference in their life?
Yeah. Well, the story that comes to mind is there was a mother and a daughter. A mother was probably maybe in her early 50s, late 40s, and then a daughter in her 20s, and they came in asking about the GED program. Of course, I refer them to the UNM, and they have to go through the program there, but they were coming to classes here. And I think because they were here, they got a library card. They started coming with their children and their families, and then their families came. And so it kind of became this big thing. While mom and grandma were in classes, the kids would be here on the computers reading. But it was a really awesome day when they both graduated with their GED and were able to go out and get different jobs and higher education, and I think so. Lots of times people think of someone needing to get their GED as an individual thing, but it doesn't. It affects the whole family. And in this case, two families, you know, the mother and the daughter. And I think it was great that they could come and utilize that program together and do it together.
Imagine the young kids seeing that too.
And seeing their parents coming when it was raining, when it was snowing, when it was hard, you know, and they still came. Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah, that's the story that sticks with me. You know, there's a lot of stories, there's a lot of things, but seeing those two women being proud of themselves and seeing their children and their spouses being proud of them, and we were proud of them.
Wow, that's pretty spectacular.
I think so.
So, how would the funding from the endowment, proposed endowment from the state, impact Estancia Library?
Well, greatly. Mainly because we are a rural area, and I think a lot of people that live in big towns or big cities, or maybe that they have the income to have a reliable car, or maybe even more than one car in a family, don't realize the hardship it is living in a rural community if you're poor. And I say that bluntly because most people out here, they have one car to the family, and maybe sometimes even it's shared among more than one family. And whoever has the job at the time or whoever needs to go to school or a doctor appointment gets that vehicle. And so without reliable transportation, getting a job, keeping a job, getting maybe higher education is just unattainable. And I think the library being out here in the middle of this rural area gives some hope. Maybe we're open all day. I've had people be dropped off at opening and not picked back up till closing because that's the only way to be done. People come in here to do everything from their resume because they don't have internet at home, they don't have a computer, they don't have ink for the printer. You know, they can't go to Albuquerque and just buy those things. So what I would really like to do to help this community is ease the burden. And part of that would be maybe offering, we do charge for printouts, but maybe if someone's doing a job application or a resume, it'd be free. Maybe we'd have extended evening hours if we could had staff. Yeah, so they could come after work because they do have to work, but maybe they do want to apply for college, or maybe they do want to fill out a resume for another job, or maybe they do want to take a GED class and get that GED so they can go on to higher education. But they do have to work, or mom has to work, or dad has to work, or somebody needs that car. And one thing I really like to do is offer more GED classes. Now, we're very lucky to have the UNM coming, but it is a limited. They have to qualify for the program. And one of the qualifications is they have to work in an agricultural field. Somebody in the household has to have in the last 2 years, which isn't so bad out here. We have a couple greenhouses, we do have farms, there's a lot of laborers out here. So there is people, but what about the ones that don't? So I'd like to have another class, and that doesn't mean, oh, you just walk in and have a class. You have to have the books. You have to have staff. We have to have heat. It's cold in here. You know, it does cost money, and it's a commitment, and that I want to give this community to help them. And as we know, it helps generations. Yeah.
everyone gets to advance.
Right. Now that's my big dream. Little dream is a teen program. I would like to have a after-school teen program with different activities. Having a book club is great, but not everybody, that won't draw a lot of people in. Coding right now is really fun and exciting and different. I've thought about maybe having a coding club. Well, to get teens in, I'm going to have food.
Indeed.
Pizza, going to have pizza. I'm going to have some incentives, and I'm going to have a really cool program. It's going to have to be top of the line to get them in and get them to keep coming and get the word out. So it all comes down to money. It really does. It's too bad, but it does.
What is the staffing here? No.
There's myself. I'm full-time, and then I have an assistant who's 25 hours a week. So I use her every day, a little bit when we need her, and we do have volunteers, and I'm grateful for my volunteers. But of course, they're limited in what they want to do and when they want to come, and I understand that. Most of them are either youth that are in school and can only come after school, and again, transportation is a problem. They have to work around their parents' schedule, or retired persons who don't like to be out at night, don't really want to participate with the children, which I can understand. So it's limited. It is limited, and that's all. It's just the two of us.
Wow. Okay. And this is a big library for 1.5.
It is. It is. Like I keep looking over here, watching, making sure I'm not because I am the only one today.
So what happens when you're sick? Or you're on vacation?
I've come to work sick. I plan vacations very carefully to where volunteers can help, or Barbara, my part-time person, and she has worked over her 25 hours a few times, and like you say, usually illness, something like that. I don't get sick very often. I've been blessed. Yeah. I was recently diagnosed with lupus, though, so that may be changing. But so far, I've gotten up every morning and come to work with a smile on my face. So.
Angela, thank you very much for this interview, and I hope it helps. Got our fingers crossed.